Now, some residents of an informal settlement in Boksburg say illegal miners threaten their lives daily. A gas leak in the area led to the deaths of 17 people. It's understood illegal miners opened a cylinder of nitrate oxide. Now, the DA is expected to visit some of the victims' families. eNCA's Manqoba Mchunu is following that story for us. He joins us now live. Manqoba, of course, you know, this is a community that's still in shock after what happened. What's the latest you can tell us there?
Well, Baron, what you're seeing here is the hearse carrying one of the victims of this particular gas leak that happened in this community. We understand that this is a 51-year-old man, Seyfred Sibieng, who was one of those that perished in this incident last week, Thursday. Of course, the family was able to collect his body today, and they're going to be taking it back home to Limpopo, where he comes from. And people here are still quite in disbelief about what happened. There is a community here that is still trying to grapple with the events that happened here that led to the death of 17 people in this community. And we know that of them, there were 11 of them that were taken to hospital. So we're seeing some of the community members here coming to pay their tributes to Seyfred, as his family had taken his body to the scene where this all happened, but also past his home here in Angelo, informal settlement. And of course, as I speak to you now, we are told that there are still more of the bodies that are still to be fetched from the mortuary by the families. And these are the people that died in this incident, and many of them, we understand, were not from this country. Seyfred, we're told, is from Limpopo. He is among the few that were actually from South Africa who passed in this incident, and we're told that at the time of his passing, he had also been making his way to go and assist those that were struggling to breathe at the time. This is when he also died during that incident. But you can just see the grief in this community, of course, who are still shocked, who are still battling to come to terms with what has happened here. I'm going to ask Manaka just to come this side, Manaka, so that you can just give us a sense. He is the relative of Seyfred Sibieng, who is being taken home today. Baba, I know that it's quite a difficult moment for you as a family. Ukuthi ekugcineni nikwazile ukuthi nimthathe nimyise ekhaya. Baba, kuhamba kanjani kunina njengomndeni?
No surgery ba le pinyana ka re khonne o ka motsia ka mmushareng ra mtisa ma ba dula ona gale o tamile a yo tsamaya mo ya Edenvale ba totswa ba tsamaya ka o sana ka laboraro wa muisha Bogomo, and then rena re tlo molokolla kwa mmushareng wa Bogomo ka Friday ra muisa motseng tlo mo tsamaisa ka Saturday ayo robala le ba gala le ba gekolo re ephi mara so re ephi ka mogwana ga re ntwe di a etsenga se ntwe be re emetse ka gore re be re iputse gore sa tlo ba le yena nakonyana e telele ra kgona go bona gore na o dialang ka gore ke yena motho be re itshepetsana mo yena ka gore ke yena o mola ke yane o be a mpitsa malome, mara ke be ke o monnyane ana mo yena e be le motho a right wa o loka dilo tse dingata be re phela le yena re fa maele. And then le banna ba le bonang baimo ke banna ba ile re ntse a bereka le bona a phela le bona ke be ke ratile gore o motho ba banna ba a tamile a bolele ka monna ba tshola gore na se ka ya tsamaile ba tshabo ka bolela ka gore ba phela le yena ba dilo tse dintsi ba di le yena re ene ra ba ra felletsa rena re bona ra monno o ke kgethetse o phela le banna ba phele le bona le bona ke be ke ratile gore o motho wa bona a ka ta mo le ene and na gone le botsana e ba phela bjang nae.
So, Baba, in terms of, I mean, the answers, are you getting any answers about what happened here?
Answer asenche kritol. Mara yona re be re rata re ka khumana answer why o ka dia so. Re nyaka le yona le lo re tommolo ka ara re nyaka le lo re tommolo ka re nyaka answer ya ona re why o ka dia so. Ka tamile re tsona why re khone o ba le re khone o khutja moyeng e rena ka ora ne re ka seno re e be le nako ra thola tamile re tsona why why o ka di eso ka re yona ntwe re tsore bad.
And Babanaka, you were one of the 2 people that went on that scene, that tried to help. In fact, you went inside the very shack where this gas leak was happening with Ubabu Malaza. You were the ones that shut this gas, that closed this gas cylinder. You were telling me just how traumatic that incident was, what you saw there on that day. Are you able to forget what happened there?
Ya yona a se ntwe nka e lebalang mo bophelong ba ka ko re since ke thoma o dula mo Angelo ka 2012 a zanka ka kopana le ntho ya mfuto mso ko ona ke thoma o ka e bona ene ntho ya mani ba be e le diala ka khumana re le nna ka mara yona ke na le family e nke be le re maybe bo sena family maybe ke be nka e lebala speed nyana mara yona ha e totswane bjalone ka re immediately ke nana ke ba ke nana ka yo ba family yaka ke nana fela ke ba ke nana ka yo wa family yaka ka re yona e bad ko re ha se ntho lo re ntse re emetse re ka dia mara e dia etse ya e dia etse ene e tlotswa o re tetswe e tlotse nako re etswe mara re tona amoela ona ntho re ka dia lo ka fela jona re to di bea matsonga modimo ke ena tseba.
You're telling me that when you went there, you just saw people everywhere. They were everywhere. There was a family that was sitting, Kwimbawula Baba, there, just sitting there. And when you went there, they were already gone.
Ya fita mola kumane lo re bo ina le family lo re be e duletse mollo Mbaola akela tswa re every winter batho ba dulela di Mbaola kumane family ba dutse Mbaolong le bona ile ya ba affect ntho family la ka fela yona e tlhokofetse ba duletse mollo ba ka ba gona go ka tshaba ba gona go ba safe ba feletse ona mo mollo ka mara mkhukhu yene yona ile ke yona e be ile painful ka re nkilo bona o tlhokofala o dutse le family a ba gona go tswa ka mara mollo. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for speaking to us, Bob Manaka. That is one of the family members of Babu Seafred, who was, of course, being collected by his family here. Of course, the community is still quite saddened by what has happened here. These are all community members that had come to bid farewell. But what Manaka was saying, he was just saying that they're still shocked as a family. They're still battling to come to terms with how their relative had died on that day. He had been trying to assist others when he too was caught in this fumes that had hit the community, that had left many people dead. And he says that the only thing that they want now is answers. They still don't have the answers as to what happened here. They want to understand why this all happened and how this all unfolded. He says that, what was shocking to him is the family that he had to go to just moments after they closed off that gas cylinder. They found a family of 4 that was sitting around a fireplace in Bawula. They were just sitting. You can tell that these were family members that were just sitting there for warmth. But the time when they got to them, when they touched them, they found that they were all dead. So this gives you a picture of what went on here. There are families that lost more than one family member. We spoke to a family earlier on, the Chiure family, that lost 6 in one household. And then there's another family just next door that lost 4 people, including a wife and a child. So the community is still grappling to come to terms with what has happened here. Of course, they are hoping that they will get answers. We know that the police are still investigating, but so far there haven't been arrests. One of the people that was inside that particular operation, we understand, managed to escape, and up until now there's been no arrest. But also what some of the families that we spoke to are saying is that they're struggling as far as the burial of their relatives is concerned, because many of them are from outside of South Africa. They're from Zimbabwe, they're from Mozambique, and so many of the families are having problems transporting the bodies, and they are really pleading for assistance. We know that government is also engaging with the different embassies to try and see if perhaps they would be assisting as far as repatriating the bodies back to their home countries is concerned. But also they are saying that this is a process that they are going to, be engaging with those particular embassies, but also the DA that was here earlier on, the leader of the DA, Solim Simanga, here saying that they are going to also be assisting in just writing letters to those embassies to see how they can best assist, but also saying that government needs to take action, decisive action when it comes to illegal mining. But I can tell you now, Tumelo, that where I stand, I can still hear the rattling sounds of the pendukas that are going on here in this community that are still continuing. It tells you that the operations are still continuing here in this community, and community members are telling us that this is the only way that they can make a living, given that there's high unemployment in this community.
Manqoba, we know that Premier Panyaza Lesufi, he said recently that the area has been declared safe and that we know that most of those cylinders have been removed as well. But does the community feel safe?
Well, community members are still fearful. I mean, after what they saw last week, we spoke to some of them who were telling us that there were jumping bodies. Literally, they saw people falling on each and every corner. So they're still, fearful that this might repeat itself, given that, the operations, illegal mining operations are also still continuing in this community. In fact, this is the only way that many of the people here are surviving through illegal mining. So there's that constant fear among community members that this could happen again, given what we see here on the ground. But certainly community members saying that they hope that they won't see these scenes repeating themselves. Of course, they are still waiting to hear what really happened as far as that incident is occurred. But what we do understand is that these were some of the gas cylinders that had been stolen from one of the firms here in the area that were being used for illegal mining. You'll know that they use gas cylinders as part of their operations to clean the gold dust that they collect from some of the mine shafts here in this area. And so, the operations are still continuing. And of course, there is that constant fear among community members here that perhaps what happened last week could repeat itself. But as we spoke to them, many of them are saying that this is the only way that they can earn a living, and they're just hoping that perhaps there would be measures to ensure that there are safer practices that are carried out by those that carry out this particular operation. Earlier on, even the DA alluding to the fact that perhaps it's time that government needs to look at the issue of legalizing illegal mining to ensure that it's well controlled, and that people are really, or people's lives are not placed at risk.
Thank you so much, Manqoba Mchunu in Angelo there, of course, in Boksburg, where 17 people died because of that gas leak that took place there. Of course, illegal mining being a serious issue that needs to be addressed, like Manqoba just said. Government needs to take swift action in order for this to be something of the past. But as you can see, that community still in shock and deeply saddened by what occurred.